Right, guys, is Alexander Isak snaking Newcastle United by possibly forcing a transfer over to Newcastle? Possibly. We're going to get into that today. So welcome back to Football Yannick. How are you doing, friends? I hope you're doing well. Settle in, pour yourself a drink, get comfortable, mate, because we are going to speak about Isak to Liverpool, the transfer that is frightening all of mankind, that could make Liverpool just purely an unstoppable force. They're completing football. They already won the Premier League by double digits in terms of points. They could have done more had they been trying harder. They put their foot off the gas and they've gone chicken oriental with their transfers. So many new high-class players. But Newcastle United, they want to be a new powerhouse. They're funded by Saudi money, the Public Investment Fund of Saudi Arabia, who have been desperately trying to put their own money in for ages and dancing around, profit and sustainability rules. They've navigated that in the last sort of 18 months, so they're not in trouble. They signed Minter to Brighton, I believe, and also was Anderson. They had players they didn't want to sell. They've sold them. They don't need to sell Isak, and they don't want to. They want to be a big boy. They want to be one of the big boys sitting at the table. They're back in the Champions League. They've just won a trophy. Sure, it's the League Cup. It's not the sexiest of trophies, but they hadn't won a trophy in a long time. They got that in the bag. Why don't you stay and party with us, Isak? So this is what's kind of like, the question, is Isak being unfair? What's going on? Does he want more money? Does he just simply want out? He's, of course, been quoted making kitty noises at Liverpool before. Well, I'm going to find the quote. Hold on. Yeah, so this was ages ago. He wants to join a top team to win the Champions League in a club in England that has a special history in Europe. Arsenal fans all took a collective sigh of sadness when he said that. This was like months ago now. So he'd already historically been making kissy faces at Liverpool. Because who else is it going to be? Chelsea have got a couple of Champions Leagues. Man United have got 3. But, Liverpool are the one in the Prem with 6. You might not know that. The Scousers don't talk about it much. So, yeah. Yeah. By the way, we're over 19,000 subscribers. So, for those of you who are yet to subscribe that find yourself coming back to the channel, I would just simply love for you to subscribe. Let's try and get to 20,000 over the summer. Let's just do it together. So, first of all, Liverpool. Can they afford Alexander Isak? Well, on the Athletics deal sheet today, this was published. The domino effect of football transfers was in full evidence this weekend, as on Sunday afternoon, a deal was agreed in Bavaria for Luis Diaz of Liverpool for, what was it like? 75 million euros. There was even talks prior to this, before Luis Diaz to Bayern Munich, that there was a chance that they could still theoretically buy Isak and still not be breaching PSR rules, but selling Diaz for 65 odd million quid package certainly puts them in a very strong position to buy Isak. Though there's been reports that Liverpool would be willing to spend on a deal worth, so this is worth, this is not necessarily, this could be including add-ons, so it could be like, 90 million plus 30 million, maybe not that much in add-ons, but maybe 100 million pounds and 20 in add-ons, I don't know, but a deal worth 120 million. Now, Newcastle United's position, publicly, has always been, he's not for sale, and if he was, it'd be 150 million, which of course 120 would be a transfer record, 150 would be, wow. And let's be fair. I think he's the best footballing striker in the Premier League. Haaland's of course like an alien Nordic giant that just thumps the ball in the back of the net, hanging out in the 18-yard box no matter what. But in terms of like footballing ability, positional versatility, comfortable gliding, traveling, dribbling, Isak's the guy. And he's 25 years old. He's right in the slot. He's good to go. He's ready to just power up any team. So any team would take him. Literally. Like, literally. Obvious. To be honest, like, City fans might not like this, but I reckon if you said to Guardiola, you've got Isak and Haaland, who do you want to start in this big important game? And they've both trained for... I wonder if... Haaland's amazing, and, City funnel all their goals for him, but... I don't know. I think, the guy from Tifo, the young lad, was saying he should go to Real Madrid and push Mbappe on the left, and they should sell Vinny. He'd obviously be perfect for Barcelona, but they can't afford him because they're broke boys. He'd start for anyone. He's that good. So this is kind of why, the money's being talked about. Rightly, a lot of cash. Arsenal would have dreamt of him, but they've obviously nailed their colours to the other Swedish mast in Viktor Gyökeres now. And yeah, man, they spent 130 million euros on Wirtz, however much it was. It was loads of money. It was the new transfer record, of course, that just pipped Caicedo of Chelsea. So they can, apparently, you can go and check out on The Athletic. They can afford it, yeah. They can do it. They can do it. But will they do it? And how much would it cost? Well, it would be a transfer record, that's for sure. It would break the one they've just broken. In Florian Wirtz, and it would be a lot of money. Now, also, can they just work together, throwing all these players together? Like, I guess, like Ekitike. I haven't even said Ekitike yet. 95 million euro package for Ekitike. What must he be thinking? I suppose, with Diaz going, and of course the very sad and tragic loss of Diogo Jota, they'll be thinking Ekitike can maybe play on the left. Of course, they've got Cody Gakpo as well. Holy Gakpo! As the Scousers like to call him. Yeah, man. So, I mean, they are flush. For me, Isak would be absolutely frightening, because not only does he make them even more amazing immediately, he's like 8 years younger than Salah. So he's like the contingency plan for picking up the goal mantle if Salah goes. And if they sell Salah to Saudi Pro League in a year, because, I'm not saying they will. Maybe he'll run his 2 years down, but they could sell him, still make a lot of money for him, even in his mid-30s. So that probably would be intelligent business from Liverpool, and they could pick up the goal slack from Isak. He'd be like, yeah, no worries, I'll just score loads of goals still. Wirtz will I mean, he's the one. Florian Wirtz how's he going to work? This like old school throwback number 10 in what's been like this rigid 4-3-3 system for years under Klopp, and then of course last season under Arne Slot. It's fascinating because you don't just swap, Dominic Szoboszlai with Wirtz in terms of the roles they've been playing. So it's so fascinating to see. Frightening. I can see them doing it. I thought we've read by the big boys at The Athletic, they can afford it. They've seemingly just on a warpath at the moment, Liverpool. But let's talk about it from Isak and Newcastle's perspective, like I did at the top of the video. Because he cost a lot of money. Was it Real Sociedad he came from? They spent a lot of money on him. He was like a big, Saudi Newcastle signing. Yeah, and it was only 3 years ago, 2022. So they did buy him from Sociedad. I think they spent £60 million, bro. £60 million. That's like, what, 75 million euros? It was considered to be a bit of a risk. His goal return there was good, but not great. I mean, and at Newcastle, it's been great. Do you know what I mean? So they took a gamble on him. It massively paid off. But it's still 60 million quid. So they'd be making profit. They would be doubling their money. Let's just say at least. They'll be doubling their money. But they'll be thinking, he's worth more than that. Like I said earlier, everyone would have him. For a striker that starts for everyone, they'd be thinking, in your head, you'd be thinking, well, 200 million. The fact how he hasn't got that PR promotional marketability of like Kylian Mbappe, yeah, because he's not that kind of guy. He's not going to cost 200 million. He'll cost less. But they will see this footballer, like this guy who can perform on the pitch, and be like, he's priceless for us, because he is. They've missed out on so many of their targets as well. We need to look at this through the Newcastle lens before we judge Isak as a snake or not. Right. So Newcastle, they wanted Liam Delap. Yeah, they profiled him lots. They really want lots of teams to because he was cheap. He went to Chelsea. For a long, long time, they wanted Joao Pedro. Sorry, guys. He also ended up at Chelsea. Yeah, so those two ended up at Chelsea. They, of course, spent a lot of time. The third striker, and these are all the strikers that are supposed to play with Alexander Isak. The third striker goes to Liverpool and Hugo Ekitike. And then they're going to take their jewel and their crown. I mean, they've been missing out on other targets as well. Trafford, they spent ages trying to get him. He's gone to City. So, it's bad over there at the moment. And they've been, like, bullied by the other buyers in the market. And bearing in mind, Newcastle, their owners are rich. They're not, currently relying on Newcastle to take dividends out. It's sports washing, soft power play, exercise. This is what they're doing at the moment. They want to throw money into Newcastle. They're not trying to take it out. But they're struggling to do that. They want to make Newcastle this big, shiny powerhouse globally. The PIF-owned Premier League superstar club, Newcastle. But they're missing out on all their targets, and they're having their jewel ripped away from them by one of the clubs that has taken one of their striker targets in Liverpool. They will be hating this. Now, of course, the big dogs at Newcastle could be like, no, go away. No, he's not going. Isak, you're not going. Sit down. Come and sit down. Back in the car. No, come back. Sit down. They could just say that. And, of course, you might argue that's dumb because you have a miserable striker. It's a poor business decision because you end up selling him for less in a year's time and he might not perform well and his contract runs down and yada, yada, yada. But at the same time, you could be like, nah, bollocks. We're not going to get taken over. We're not going to be taken for a ride by this buying club and indeed our own striker who's forcing himself out, which makes me ask the question, is he being a bit of a snake here? Or is he just, because Newcastle fans will say, we're in the Champions League. We've just won a trophy. We're trying to rebuild. What are you doing? I mean, presumably, if he doesn't go and somehow stays, he'll have some, apologizing to do. It's almost like, I think it's bad from him. I do. What I think he should have been doing is, maybe these conversations have happened in the background, but said to Newcastle, look, it's been great here. You've raised my profile. I've scored bang loads of goals. Everyone loves me. Thank you very much. But I'm not getting paid anywhere near as much as I think I should be. I think he thinks he could at least double his wages. And he's not on nothing, but he feels like he not unjustly, he can get way more money. I don't know if Newcastle are prepared to give him that. If they want to say, yeah, stay here, we'll give you that and lock yourself down sort of thing. Maybe. I'm not entirely sure of those details. But I think he just, and this is probably what will hurt Newcastle, I think he just sees other clubs as better options. And to be honest, I mean, this has been in some reports, the aforementioned failures with all the different transfer stuff. Maybe that's affected him too. He's like, well, you can't get any of your targets. No one wants to come here. And, my just Swedish strike partner's going to Arsenal, spending loads of money. And I quite like the idea of, I was going to say going to London, but he's obviously going to probably go to Liverpool. So it's tricky. I put it out to you guys. If he does force this move, if he goes on strike and refuses to play, is he a snake? Let me know. Comment down below. Thank you for joining me, guys. Thank you, as always, for supporting the content, for liking and subscribing. And I do hope to see you back here very soon. Peace.